welcome to a July event vlog. I know, it's perfect weather, isn't it? We haven't even left yet. This is what it's currently doing outside, and it's forecast to do the exact same thing until sometime after I finish cross country in about 6 hours time. So it could be a very interesting show day. I have so much to tell you because it's actually a really exciting competition, but for now, let's just appreciate the rain. I know, it did. Doing our own minute markers for once. That's not something we often do because they're usually on the app, but not this time. So I'm gonna see how accurate my timing ability is. Quite a big step from the line to. Love Hambledon, proper wooded cross country. This next fence is my nemesis, my first ever 100 vent with ATTY. It's the only time I've ever been eliminated, and it was at this fence. Safe to say, in the 7 seasons since then we've done a lot of work on skinnies, but I will be kicking extra hard for this one. It's just, I still don't like seeing it.
They've taken this out.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not in.
Water?
Yeah.
Bit deeper than Flo was expecting, I think. And after all that, we've just heard that they've removed this fence from the competition because it's too deep. Nothing if not game, Flo. I was all right until about the 3/4 mark. (16) penultimate fence A, where Flo is. B and C, and then the long run into the final fence. This might be the only bit of footage we get all day where there's no rain involved, so embrace it! We are feeling so pessimistic about the weather today that while it's only lightly spitting, I've decided that I am going to chat to you. We haven't left for the show yet. I usually like to tell you about where we've gone once we arrive so you can sort of see it firsthand. But today, I think any time where it's not raining too heavily, we are very lucky. The rain is literally picking up as I film. But This is potentially a pretty big competition for 2 reasons. First of all, it's my most local and one of my most favourite venues in the whole world. It's Hambledon, which used to have an international horse trials that went up to 3-star. It's my first run above 100 since, well, I guess since the 1-star at Osberton, if you count that. Didn't get very far. So my first run above 100 since last year, and the class itself is a little bit complicated. It's a novice dressage test, novice show jumping, and then a 105 cross country at 105 speed, although having walked the course it's very similar to the 100 course. So that's the sort of first reason why it's a little bit different, a little bit exciting. But the second is because it's a qualifier for the Chairman's Cup, which if you've been around for over a year now, you will remember. I went to the Chairman's Cup last year. It was one of my big championships because it is a youth-only under 25 Pony Club members championship. It runs over 3 days. So it's a very rare opportunity to have a 3-day event format without being against all the professionals. I had the best time. ATTY finished in the top 10. Star was also there. He also helped the team get on the podium. If you watched the vlog last year, and maybe this is more, we can chat about this another time, but if you watched the vlog last year, you may remember that we found it rather stressful having both boys at a stay away because they are best friends, they are very much attached. So we've made the executive call this year to focus on getting ATTY there and hopefully go back and sort of contest like how we did last year. So that is what's on the line today. It's a big one. I think it's going to be a wet one. I'm getting a phone call from Mum, so I'll see you soon. Bye. Well, where are they? They won't have here. Right, we've arrived, and get used to this site because it's still raining, so I think a lot of footage is going to be from the comfort of the lorry today. Even my number is already starting to run. And I have...
Where's it going?
Really? Really? That's the kind of person you want to be online? I have already made my first faux pas of the day. Dan, do you want to tell them about it?
I don't know what your first faux pas of the day was.
Do you know what faux pas means?
Mistake.
Well, I guess I didn't really make a mistake, did I?
They made a mistake.
They made a mistake. No, they didn't. Well, someone made a mistake.
Yeah, well, someone changed your time and you didn't check.
I checked my times when they came out on Friday, and my dressage was 1:54, as you'll have seen me write on the board earlier. However, just before we left, I checked again, and it's now 2:34, but we were all loaded up and ready to go, so we decided to just come anyway. So we are actually running quite early for once, which would be lovely if it was nice sunny weather and we could go and enjoy the day, but instead we are hiding out in the lorry.
Nice, relax, from the big experience.
They're so far away. Is there one in front? Okay, so earlier I was trying to explain to you a little bit about the Chairman's Cup, however it was quite rainy. So I've decided, Dan's actually been through this process once before, he's been to championships. Dan, could you tell me, and could you tell the vlog viewers by panning the camera around to yourself, tell me what's different between a B100 and the Chairman's Cup?
So today, oh my gosh, I've zoomed in a lot. Hold on. So today, the main difference is that a couple of the fences are different. Most of the fences that Flo will be jumping in the cross country will be the same as the 100, but there should have been 2 fences that were different. However, the water has been taken out due to the water being too deep. So it's actually only 1 fence that is different in the cross country.
And what about the first 2 phases?
Well, the show jumping can be built up to 110, and the dressage is also a slightly harder dressage test than they would normally see at 100 level. How did I do?
You did pretty well, to be fair. It's like halfway between a 100 and a novice. So effectively like a 105, which is great and good fun for us if we get to championships because it gets super technical.
Had a stud in it at one point, but looks as though it's lost its stud.
Flow checking in with the tack lady, making sure everything's okay. And we're so grateful the sun is out and it's not chucking down with rain like it was a few minutes ago. Support crew.
He looks really smart, doesn't it?
He does, yeah. Right, who's ready for a dressage test voiceover? I actually haven't watched this back yet, so we can do first impressions together. For anyone wondering, this test is supposedly in line with B novice tests, but I would definitely say it's on the kinder side. You do have one medium trot, and the test on the whole was just quite a lot longer than some of the 90-100 tests, but there wasn't anything particularly demanding in there, which was good for us because it's been a while since we've done anything harder than just like a B100 test. So straight off the bat we got a 7 for our first centre line with the comment that it was fairly straight, and then a 7 for our turn left, but we got a 6.5 when we started this serpentine because his pole was dropping, which is really frustrating because that was something that used to affect our marks quite a lot, and we've worked really hard on not having him do that. But sometimes if he goes in the ring and just kind of drops his head a little bit, when I'm in the zone and focusing on the test, I don't feel it, and I actually don't remember feeling it at all in this test, so that's a slight shame. And then I was really pleased with how his mediums went in the warm-up. It's somewhere we've historically struggled a little bit, so it was a bit of a shame that they didn't come off quite so much in the test. We actually got a 6 for them with the comment that the steps were running and that there was no obvious comeback. So that's obviously my fault. When you ride your mediums in the test at this level, you want to make it really clear where you're starting and where you're finishing, and showing that change is kind of the most important thing, almost more important than the extravagance of the trot itself. So that was a shame. And then we got a 6.5 for our 15-metre circle. We then had to change the rein again, but this time do a give and retake. That was interesting. We got a 7 with the comment that there was a clear release. I remember when I did this test in Star last year, he was anticipating the medium again because you've just come straight off a medium trot. Just quite a clever one to throw in there. And actually, ATTY didn't anticipate, so he is good. We got a 7 for our 15-metre circle, and then, yeah, I don't really know what happened there. He kind of just popped himself up into canter before I'd asked, and I thought, rather than being all muddled, let's just come back and ask properly in the right place. But we got a 6 for that, which is fair enough, and it's never helpful when things that go wrong right in front of the judges' eyesight. But I think we redeemed ourselves a little bit. We got a 7 for our 20-metre circle. In fact, I think we actually got a 7 for the rest of this canter work, and then for our transition back to trot that we're about to come across the school and do, we got an 8. Sometimes I think one area that I try and add marks in these tests, because we're never going to get them for flashiness, is really reading every detail down to the smallest bit. So actually in this test, the first time you came across the school and then came back to trot, you actually were supposed to do it after the X marker, and then you pick up canter again. Here we got a 6.5 for our transition and for our 20-metre circle. But in a moment we're going to come back across the school and supposedly repeat the movement of dropping back to trot as we change the rein, except on this sort of time of doing it, you're actually meant to do it exactly on X. Did I do it on X? Maybe a touch early. What did we get for that? A 7. So that could have been a bit better. But that was somewhere I was trying to impress the judge. I'm not sure how well that worked. We got a 7 for our transition to medium walk, and then a 6.5 here as we switched into medium walk because he needed greater over track and he needed to take the contact forward and down, and you can see I'm sort of working away there with my inside leg going, come on Atty, keep walking, because sometimes in our tests with Atty we either get very slow medium walk or we get a jog, and unfortunately this was not really that different. And then we picked back up into medium walk, and I was really having to keep reciting this last part of the test because you actually don't turn down the centre line, you go past it and then turn onto the centre line, which tests like that always take a little bit of remembering. We got a 7 for our turn onto the centre line, and we actually got an 8 for our halt with the comment that it was a good square halt, which made a lovely change from a couple of weeks earlier at Farley Hall where we did 2 halts and got 5 in both. In terms of our collectives, they potentially aren't quite where I'd want them to be. 7 for our paces, 6.5 for impulsion, 6.5 for submission, and 7.5 for my riding. It's always nice to get a good mark for your riding. And then as you can see, there's a little clip here from the amazing stable shot who came out and got some epic slow-mo footage. Right, dressage done, and despite having our times moved back by 40 minutes, still managed to cut it all quite fine. The warm-up I was really pleased with. I think that's become a bit of a trend this season. He came out and he felt quite nice. In the test, I think it was a little bit more lackluster. It wasn't quite on a flat surface, there's a bit of an incline, and then when it was a bit wet and slippy, we were all a bit downhill all over the place. But I thought there were some nice bits. I thought his canter was alright and the trot near the start, but it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. So we'll see. We have literally no service here, so I'm not sure about to update the scores until the very end.
Dan has a prediction.
Oh, do you? Oh, we're doing predictions?
Oh, I said 32.8.
I think I would take that, to be honest. Thanks. As you can tell, we've walked show jumping and we are now waiting to go into the walk arena and get cracking. So hopefully it goes alright.
Clear 3 and 4. Versus Vinchik. Vinchik leads 1 set to love, 6-2. Delighted to say that we are now green again. Now this is Poppy Durkin, ready to fly on the Lord Leconfield and stay up clear for 3 fences. She's had a few months off for revision of GCSEs and trying to remember to make sure she keeps her fingers crossed to point Fred in the right direction. thank you to Auntie Laura for keeping Fred fit. Clear down, clear down.
Show jumping done, and he was amazing. We also have a dressage score in 31.4, which is not too shabby for our first harder test in quite a while. I will say though that the section is very tightly bunched together, like the first sort of half a dozen scores that came in. Everyone was between about 29 and 32, so the jumping is going to potentially be influential. Time penalties, poles, that kind of thing. I'm not sure how many like jumping issues across country will cause, but we will see. ATTY was very good in the show jumping, as always. What an absolute legend. Jumped really nicely. I thought I did an alright job, because I know recently I've had a bit of a trend of going, I thought I jumped well. I thought I did an alright job. I really didn't do a very good job into the last line of uprights, which I should have sat back. And then I saw a shocker, and he very kindly got me out of trouble, so pleased with that. I've got to go in now, I've got him ahead in the game, ahead of the cross country. Right, we are getting ready to go cross country. I am in my kit, got my watch on, and the colours are a little bit different actually. It's the pink ones, because this is, like I said, technically a Pony Club qualifying event, so we are wrapping SOHS. This is rubbish, you can't see that on my arm at all. But yes, we're wrapping sauce. Pressure's on, let's go and have fun. This is one of my favourite venues and one of my favourite courses to do cross country, because it's not just around a field, it's around this beautiful woodland, which just makes for the most perfect ride. Just also means it might be a bit slippy, and also you always feel like you're going really fast, even if you're not, so.
I think I know how to put these on.
Trying to outfox it. Keeps shifting. Wait, he's putting his foot on so we can't get his foot.
How tight is it?
So they don't fall down. They're quite tight. So I don't know when we actually last spoke, but we think there may be a relatively good result on the line, and prize giving starts, well, now. So we're having a group run down to prize giving, and hopefully we're going to be there in time for when it starts. Let's go. And then we'll catch up properly about how everything went afterwards.
Last place goes to Noah Carter. Where's the Salvage Club?
How do you feel after winning everything?
We haven't even debriefed after the cross country yet, so there's a lot to catch up on. But it's actually rained a lot less than it was supposed to today, so that is a win. Okay, it's actually a couple of days later and I sat down to start editing this vlog and I just thought, wow, that was pretty chaotic. There's a lot of chaos, you didn't really see what happened, so I thought I'd hop on here and just explain very quickly. I have had to bribe ATTY to come and be in the shot. But you may have gathered, we actually won! We actually won individually and as part of a team, so we're off to nationals, which is very exciting indeed. ATTY was just super cool from start to finish across the whole day. His dressage of 31.4 was kind of about midfield in a very, very compact section, so the fact that he then went on to jump a clear show jumping when only 2 people in my class did was amazing, rocketed him up the leaderboard, and then his cross country was just brilliant. The ground was pretty holding and slippy in places where it had rained all morning, and then being a largely woodland track, it hadn't really dried up very well, so we pushed where we could. We didn't take any unnecessary risks. We came home about 9 or 10 seconds over the time, which was still the second fastest in the class, which meant we came first, which is just amazing because, like I said at the start of the vlog, I actually got eliminated at that exact event on ATTY the first time we ever did 100 about 6 or 7 years ago now. So how special to have won and be able to start prepping for nationals. So I can't wait to bring you along for all of that. That's all for now. See you soon. Bye.